Hello and welcome to Head and Shoulders, where we cover athletes, performances, and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. Thank you all for joining us today. You see the topic, you see the title. We're going to be covering that 200-meter dash, where we saw the likes of Andre De Grasse, Kenny Bednarek, and Noah Lyles, where they got first, second, and third. I'm going to be covering more of Lyles and De Grasse today than I am going to be covering Bednarek. But and the reason being is because Lyles was the favorite going into it, well, somewhat favorite, and then De Grasse as well. So and Bednarek was kind of the background individual here. So I will be covering him, but not as far as breaking down what he's done too much. But I do want to give him his props for what he's done. And here we go. Here's Kenny Bednarek, his profile on World Athletics. Young man, young guy. And so he's got a future ahead of him. This is crazy. He got an Olympic silver medal. So he's been working hard for himself. I actually like the way he runs. A lot of people say he has a weird running style. I was like, man, this guy goes out there. He does hard work. And that's pretty much what I got to say on that one. So let's get back to the topic at hand. And here is the man of the hour, other than Andre De Grasse and Bednarek, Noah Lyles. He's done a lot of good things. He's had a lot of great wins. De Grasse is now healthy. So that's the thing. He's been able to recover and come back in style. So I'm going to be covering this, and I'm going to have it this way because I can't actually do the animated ones because of the strikes that they may have, especially during the Olympic Games. This may be able to, I may be able to do a different breakdown with instead of just still images. So with that being said, we're looking for 10,000 subscribers so we can keep building up this channel by the end of October. Like, comment, subscribe. Now, here we go right here. Noah Lyles got in lane 3. A lot of people don't think that lane 3 has much of an issue, that all the lanes are the same distance, obviously, right? They're all the same distance. But him being in lane 3 means he has a slightly tighter curve right here coming up, right? And so think about an indoor track. There's a sizable difference, especially with the height of different people on the lanes on the indoor track. Now, it's not as tight as an indoor track, but there are differences in those. And especially because this is what they did. Let me back this one up. So they put all of the quickest people toward the middle. Lyles jogged himself into lane 3, essentially, and everybody else kind of earned himself. Here's Aaron Brown of Canada. He finally made himself into a final, which is good. He's been somewhat of a head case. He has articles about that, having confidence issues. So that's something, not just what I'm saying. He said it himself. So De Grasse is right here. Bednarek is right here. Arian Knighton is right there. I really didn't expect too much from Knighton. I'm like, man, the guy made it to the finals, because he could have very well have not made it to the finals. I don't know why people are saying he was a disappointment or anything like that. The guy, 17-year-old kid, and he made it. So with that being said, here they go. I catch him in the middle of the curve. Now, with this one, Noah Lyles, I think if he would have gotten himself into a better lane, you switch up those lanes, Lyles wins. Just put him into 5, maybe 4, and Lyles wins. Him being in lane 3 was a disadvantage. If he was on the outside lane, even still is a disadvantage. I think he, and you're going to see this in a second, I think he put on too much effort onto the curve. Now, this is one of the best bends I've ever seen this man run. Like, bar none, the best bend that I've seen him run. So nothing much more to say right here. All right. Coming off of the bend is between Lyles and Bednarek. I think Bednarek actually had the best bend out of all of them, and Lyles was right there as soon as he slingshot off of this bend. And then, of course, De Grasse has Bednarek to key off of, which is good. Arian Knighton kind of got left where he was. And then, of course, Aaron Brown is there. Now, here we go. Bednarek is in a slight lead. Lyles just behind him. De Grasse coming off of the curve. We know what De Grasse is capable of. We know that he can finish pretty strong. We know that this is what he's bringing. So in my opinion, there were 2 things that worked against Lyles here, other than the lane. The lane, I think, was part of the psychological thing because, oh, I forgot I don't have the drawing tool here. So the lane right here is part of this psychological, if I could draw straight. psychological thing that he's dealing with. He knows he's in lane 3. That's commonly he's thinking like, hey, this is a tighter curve. My competition, De Grasse, my biggest competition, De Grasse is here. Maybe he's gotten over losing against Arian Knighton, but he knows that his biggest competition is De Grasse, that he knows that he gets ready at the end of the year. Just like many other nations outside the USA, they may not be there during the rest of the year, but at the end of the year, these guys put it together. So this is what they're thinking. He's thinking in his head, I got to run this bend, because one thing that Noah Lyles does, he's usually in the middle of the group, behind slightly, and then he comes up and then he blasts them right toward the end. When I saw him come out like this, somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm like, wow, he's running a good bend, but then he might be running too hard. But I mean, I thought that he had to do that. In hindsight, looking at it here, this is where we're at. Boom. All right, right here, you see it's a clear lead by Noah Lyles. Clear lead by Noah Lyles. Just right over here. He's got a clear lead. Actually, it'll be more like right here because of the shadows, but he's got a clear lead on the rest of the field. And I think that was his mistake right here. I think he was thinking that he could get a jump on Andre De Grasse, but depending on how his shape was, depending on how much speed he was going to put into this, I think he needed to hold himself back and actually be behind De Grasse, conserve some of his energy that he used right here on the curve. Oh, actually this curve right here, where he used right here on the curve. He could have conserved that. And instead, he used too much of that there. He boosted off of the into the home straightaway, because he actually slingshot past Bednarek faster than De Grasse did. And then we see this right here on the next frame. All right. Still in the lead, increasing his lead, and here comes De Grasse. All right. Now this is where you start to see the strain on his face. Okay, let me make sure I got the right images. This is where you start to see the strain on his face, and De Grasse opens up. That's exactly what he needed. Bednarek now, at this point, like I said, I like his form, but then he starts to tighten up in his shoulders. You'll start seeing it. If you watch the race over, he'll tighten up in his shoulders. You see the strain in his face. I mean, these things will happen with the athletes sometimes, but look at De Grasse. Cool, calm, collected. Look at that face. Cool, calm, collected. He knows what he has to do. Lyles knows that De Grasse is there. He knows that he's seen him enough. He's seen videos of him enough, and he's raced against him. So he would know what's coming up next. So he tried to get as much of a jump in the lead before he got there. At this point, I know I couldn't get the in-between, but let's just bring it back over here, right, to right here. At this point, which is where they were on the track. So let me put these here. They were essentially here. Let me try to get their lane correctly here and here, more or less. I don't think it was that much of a lead at that point. And then what winded up happening is, here comes De Grasse, staying relaxed, smooth, calm, collected. Bednarek is trying to do everything that he can. And then Lyles is starting to mentally destroy himself. And I'm telling you, he's mentally destroying himself in some ways, because he knows that De Grasse is there. And if he's looking at him at any point, either at that big scoreboard up there, or he's looking to his left at this point and seeing in his peripheral vision, he knows that De Grasse is coming, and he's trying everything that he can to hold on. And you saw that his form was breaking down right in this area right here. You saw actually probably a little bit before, but I got it in mid action right here, because that's when he started to show more obvious signs. He started to tighten up, but he did, I think Lyles did a lot better than I thought he would from lane 3. He took out, ran that curve like I initially thought he should. And then here we go. Here's the end. He started to dip forward, lose his form. And I think he tried to like muscle it through, but it just didn't work. He tried to muscle that through, but it just didn't work. And the thing about De Grasse is that when he passed him at this last moment, you got somebody passing you from behind and they got the momentum. What are you going to do within this block of space? What, with about 15 meters to go? What are you going to do with somebody passing you there? He would have had to start adjusting right there, especially the speed in which he passed him. And then Bednarek is being dragged along with him because although he's going a little bit slower, he's right next to him. He's like, I'm not giving up. So he tried as much as he could. He just could not keep up with De Grasse's speed. That's what wound up happening there. Whereas Noah Lyles, he started to break some of his form earlier on, which allowed De Grasse to get in. That is what my analysis is from this. But if I had the non-still images, I could show you guys a little bit more and talk more in depth, especially about their back kick or the lack thereof, their rotation and everything right there. But as far as that, this is how De Grasse won the race. He really became smooth, calm, collected. He knew what he had to do, that he's going to be there. He had to do his good start. With Noah Lyles, you just don't know what type of start he's going to get. He has a okay start. He doesn't really run the bend that well. And this is probably one of the best bends I've seen him run personally. Now, Aaron Brown got off on him. He had Aaron Brown to key off of, which was a good thing, right? But then, like I said, after looking at this, I think he exerted a little bit too much on the bend. If he would have held back just a minute amount, which is hard to, it might be hard to verbalize here, but he would have had to hold back 1-2% of his effort or something, right? And then make sure that he was behind De Grasse just enough, trust in his own ability. That's what he had to do. He has to trust in his ability. And this is how he could have won. Actually been in a different lane, like one of these two lanes out here, and especially on the inside of De Grasse, it would have been a wrap. I don't think that De Grasse would have been able to beat him or catch him. Because even with that ability they had, if he ran that bend the same way, he might have been a few strides up. A few strides up would have given him enough. It would have been a dip at the line. I think Lyles would have been able to hold on. But he probably, because we all know his weakness, talked himself dead or raw, whatever, in his head. And we know his weakness. He has to relax. He has to remain relaxed. And right here, he was relaxed. He worked a little bit harder than he needed to. When he got into the home straightaway, he started feeling that lactic acid, knew that De Grasse was coming up. But you see this. Look at De Grasse in these images. Here he is. He's working a little bit harder right here so he can make that one move. He worked a little bit harder. But other than that, this guy's face, it's like the exact same thing. It's like he got a poker face on. He's just like, all right, I know what I got to do. He's probably looking through his sunglasses to see where everybody is. But he didn't have to really move his head too much. He had Bednarek, which is a decent starter, on his outside lane to key off of, and he knew what he had to do. See Noah Lyles, all right, I know what he does. I got to put a little bit of pressure on him. He put that pressure on him, and he slowly transitioned past him, but then he upped the ante, and then Lyles kind of defeated himself a little bit. I got to say that. With that being said, what do you guys think about that? Do you agree or disagree with the analysis that I have here? We're going to be having a lot of things coming up. I'm going to analyze the hurdle races pretty soon and upload those. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.